Ideally, I'd like to leave the house in 15 minutes. Uh, which I've got no topic for today's video. It's obviously become a daily routine type of thing. I don't want to do what I did with yesterday's video and just start going off like crazy. It's raining. I got the saxophone lesson today. Oh, I just got an email from a teacher about Center for Writing. Ah. Plan on establishing a new centre for. Oh, I think that was the new Writing North place in Newcastle. The level of how passionate I am about writing Newcastle now, especially when you have some organisation that's coming into Newcastle city centre, and in a lot of ways I would kill. No, I wouldn't kill. But it would be my life's goal to publish all the things I have to say about Newcastle, and to be able to capture all that I think needs to be captured in the world of literature and present it to people, you know. But I would be happier if I had my stories and they didn't go down too well, and there was other people who published. If I was part of a clique or a thing or a people or a revolution, if you would, like a literary revolution in the northeast of England. If I had my things about, they always said, oh, Corey has this specific voice, and he always his narrator always addresses so and the reader like so and so, and his descriptions are like this, and maybe he's just a basic bitch who tries to copy Steinbeck. I'd be so happy. And then you have other people who are like really good poets. I just picked up a book from New Writing North, actually, platform to do with a new platform that was putting in Time Mouth. I haven't read it yet. I got some of their New Writing North stuff. I had one when they did it about metros. I can't remember what though. But I don't know. I don't want to keep this long. I do want to end it after like 5 minutes. I'd like to write them, and I'd like everybody else to write them, and I'd like some real stories. I'd like to be able to get to that point where I know nothing about literary theory, but I'm successful, so I can waffle on and pretend I know. I said something about show and tell the other day in class. My opinion on it, because we looked at a piece and I was like, to me, the difference between show and tell is specificity and detail. Lecturer looked at me and he said, "You're on the right path, but it's not really what the theory's about." And I'd love to be able to get to that level where I can just waffle on and people say, he's right. Because they sort of read something I did and they were like, that's decent, that's decent. And they're quite, I'd just say underage, they're not in their 30s, so they don't actually know what they're talking about. And I'd be able to just waffle on and just be like, yeah. So when I do this, yeah. Don't know what's going to happen with that writing center, but I hope it's fruitful, not only for me but for a lot of, not just northern, like really. I know that concept goes out to York, Middlesbrough, Durham, even to Manchester and Liverpool. They're not northern. Gonna get smacked for that. I'm hard pressed to say Gateshead's northern, but I know it is. and if I say it's not, then I'm in trouble. But you know what I mean. Like you can't have. I feel as though you can't have New Writing North and your headquarters be in the city centre, Newcastle, just opposite from the cathedral. Newcastle Cathedral. You know, I used to work down that street, by the way. Miller and Carter. Shout out. Shout out, Will. Um, yeah, I used to try that, but I feel like they can't have that and not have some really specifically Geordie stories, or even if they do like some Geordie publications, stuff like that. That's what I think is needed. You know, I'm not talking about no small time stuff either. I'm talking about like this is a big release of theirs. You know. Let me check this email again, see if they've said we want you to write so and so with the privilege of being the first. You know, let's see. I'll have a cafe. Yeah, I'll go there. Oh, they're asking for my opinion. Oh, yeah, you're gonna have my opinion be told. I don't want to sound arrogant when I say it, but I'll have to say it. You know, um, I'll have to say it. I'll have to say, listen, I need more Geordie stories. But this is just a quick video. Um, in that note, write what you want to write, as long as it's not porn. We've got no need in the literary world for that. Write art. Please go ahead and write art. Yes, some people value sexual art. I don't. If I want a goon, I'll just yeah. If I wanted a goon, I'd just goon. I wouldn't be like, this is Uh, that's so goofy. Just write some good art. You know, write that poem, write whatever, and share it somewhere because you always need feedback and advice. Write that poem, king or queen. Uh, yeah. Try to write a poem the other day, didn't go spectacularly, but write that poem. Write that novel, whatever it is, just write. Please, for the love of God, just write. Just put that thing in the world, you know. I don't think we're at that point in history where we don't need people's like some more. I feel as though I need people, my generation, the generation above me, the people who aren't. I know I'm seen as like an unk by the kids these days, but some generations are truly unks. Uncle, you know, Uncle Jive. Like some generations are just truly uncles of the world, you know. Uncle. Say your piece and say it in writing because it's beautiful. And I think we need people to just continue to produce. You know, we need stories which are specifically from our experience and our feelings and our struggles growing up, you know. They always talk about, man, back in New York in the 80s. No one gives a fuck about New York in the 80s anymore. There's no longer TMNT. Obviously, people do. It's just a joke. But what I'm saying is we need the stories specifically from, you know, from the 20s, from the 10s, from the 2000s. That's what I'm thinking about. You know, we need to. You know, Dostoevsky shows people's experiences or his experience of a man in that time in Russia. That being a part of the literary world is important. That we put our stamp on our time, where we are, and we do it with such a beautiful artistic flair that no one can deny our experiences. Yes. Amen.